spoilers, by the way, so before you start watching this video, if you don't want to have it ruined for you, if you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, turn it off now, just in case you haven't watched the movie and you plan to watch the movie. How's it going, guys and girls? Welcome back to another video. Axel Williams here. Today we're talking about a forgotten movie. A movie, in my view, that doesn't get the attention that it probably should. Well, I'll say get the attention that it probably should. It's not a special film, it's not a fantastic film, but for me it's one of those underrated movies. Yes, Mortal Kombat. We're going to talk about Mortal Kombat the movie. We'll also briefly talk about Mortal Kombat 2 Annihilation as well, and obviously how they link in with the video games. Mortal Kombat, yes, the movie, of course, based on the old games that we've all played the games, haven't we? The 2D fighting game where it's one-on-one. There's been so many games like that, hasn't there, since as well. It's inspired games like Tekken. But yes, Mortal Kombat, the movie, of course, the movie that came following the game. Now, of course, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat, we'll talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But Mortal Kombat, is it underrated? Is it my view, or is it an underrated movie? I naturally assume when people actually make a movie based off a game, the movie's going to be pretty crap. I think game interpretations used to be really good, didn't they? You know, people used to make games out of films. There was Lord of the Rings, Spider-Man, Star Wars, all these game movies that they no longer make. So many movies were actually turned into games back in the day, and a lot of them were actually very much enjoyable to play. But Mortal Kombat, for me, is one of those standout ones where I actually quite enjoyed it. I thought Mortal Kombat was actually quite good. You know, Lord Raiden assembles his crew, doesn't he? Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade, Kitana, and basically they are just put into this tournament to try and stop the evil Shang Tsung. A lot of people probably watch Mortal Kombat and think, yeah, it's poor, it's cheesy, it's cheap. But I don't think it's actually that bad, you know. I think the acting, we'll start with, you know, the acting. I don't think the acting's that bad in the movie. I don't think the acting's particularly awful in Mortal Kombat, the film. Special effects, obviously. The special effects are the one thing you'll always say with movies like that, because they are relatively cheap budget movies, that the special effects and, you know, overall CGI is not going to be great. And in Mortal Kombat, the CGI wasn't great. That's probably a fair statement. The CGI wasn't great. But the fight scenes within the film, you know, you've got quite a lot of cool fight scenes. You've got Johnny Cage against Scorpion, Sub-Zero against Liu Kang, Shang Tsung against Liu Kang, Reptile against Liu Kang. You know, the fight scenes were really, really cool. And I think overall what made the fight scenes in the Mortal Kombat movie really, really good was the background music. You know, all the fight scenes in the Mortal Kombat film felt really high energy. It made you want to kind of, if you were sitting watching it in your living room, it made you want to get up, stand up, and literally start joining in with, you know, all the fighting moves. It made you just want to kind of punch the TV screen, like, you know what I mean? It gave you high energy. Not to mention the class theme, the classic theme. This is probably, when people look at the Mortal Kombat films, this is probably the best overall feature about the Mortal Kombat movies, was that theme song, wasn't it? Mortal Kombat! The one fight scene I actually always liked, and I'm not being a pervert right now, I'm not being a pervert, was Kano against Sonya Blade. And it's not for the fact that she wraps her legs around his neck. Oh yes, very tasty. I think it was the fact that it felt a bit personal between Kano and Sonya Blade. I also like the fact that during the fight, Shang Tsung's actually being a bit of a pervert himself, isn't he? I mean, you look at some of his creepy facial expressions when Sonya Blade literally does a handstand and wraps her legs around Kano's neck. You've got Shang Tsung, the camera pans to Shang Tsung and he's just sitting in his, you know, master chair, and he's kind of like, yes, oh yes. And he's like a creepy perverted way. I'll be honest with you, when I watched the movie, the one fight that disappointed me, the one part of the film that disappointed me was actually Johnny Cage's fight with Goro. Because, you know, Goro's beating up everybody beforehand, you know, he's beating all these fighters, and Johnny Cage decides to fight Goro. You know, the actual Goro, just before I go on to this point, the actual Goro animatronic was actually pretty cool. It actually looked reasonably lifelike, apart from when he used to smile, when he used to grunt almost. You could see the kind of mechanics working in his face. But as an overall, you know, thing, I thought Goro looked actually pretty cool. He looked pretty good. He was pretty well done. You know, going back, there was a big build-up for the Johnny Cage-Goro fight, wasn't there? Everyone surrounding, Raiden's there, and, you know, Johnny Cage steps in front of Goro, takes off his shades. I can't do this. Where am I? You know, he takes off his shades and Goro kind of grunts, and then Johnny Cage says, all right, let's dance. It's a bit camp. But, you know, and then he kind of does the splits and punches Goro's penis off, doesn't he? But rather than them two having a proper cool fight scene after that, Johnny Cage runs up to the top of, like, the cave on the edge of this cliff and waits for Goro to come up. Says an entire sentence. He like says, those were $500 sunglasses, asshole. By which time Goro turns around. I don't know why Goro turned around after he said the whole sentence. I'm sure if someone started speaking, it would be like, you'd be like, but he was like, they were $500 sunglasses, asshole. And then Goro turns around as if he couldn't hear him prior to that. That's a bit weird. But then it just ends with him kicking Goro off the cliff. There's probably about 4 or 5 punches thrown in the entire fight. It was really, that was a wasted scene, that was. I wanted to see Goro die in a kind of cool way, not just be chumped on. You know what I mean? He was basically snuck up on in a cave and kicked in the face. Which brings me on to Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Now, this is a different ball game. Mortal Kombat, taking the glasses off for this one, because this, oh my god, I am fuming with Mortal Kombat Annihilation. It is shit. Not only have I discovered that Mortal Kombat Annihilation was actually released unfinished, they changed some of the cast members of this movie. I mean, let's be fair, they probably approached the original actors, but they said, no, I ain't been in that crap. But it was weird. Johnny Cage, I mean, the guy who played Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation, he looked like the guy from the first one. But Raiden was a totally different guy completely. I mean, he looked completely different. Now, there's bits at the start of the movie, and there's a lot of green screen shots where you actually, if you actually freeze frame it and pause it, you can actually see kind of the actors' limbs missing at times when they're jumping out of the sky and stuff, because the green screen wasn't actually, like, properly, you know, they didn't actually do the whole green screen process. They did, like, stage 1 of the green screen process, and there were still 2 more stages to do, and they didn't do them. But yes, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, again, people will probably say it's not awful. There are some cool fight scenes in it as well. There are. You know, obviously the introduction of Jax as well, Kitana's mother, Shao Kahn. Is it Shao Kahn? Shere Khan was the guy, the tiger from Jungle Book, wasn't it? It's Shere Khan or Shao? It's Shao Kahn. It's Shao Bloody Khan. But look, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is literally, that did feel a bit more cheap budget. That felt a bit more cheap budget than the first one, you know. The CGI, the green screen, it all literally, it felt like it wasn't even properly finished. And don't get me started on the animality crap. What was that animality crap? Animality? It's one of those two. Shao Kahn and Liu Kang literally transform into animals. I mean, I think Shao Kahn transforms into a 3-headed dragon from Jason and the Argonauts or Sinbad. Liu Kang transforms into, what does Liu Kang transform into? Like a big dragon or something, like a big dragon, like a purple dragon. And then they start fighting each other as these big mythical animals. Perhaps it's a cool concept to some people, but the CGI, oh my god, what is that? I mean, what the fucking hell is that? You know, I usually say it looks like a PlayStation 2 cutscene, but that looks more like a Sega Mega Drive cutscene, which they didn't even have cutscenes. So, no, it doesn't look like that. It looks like a PlayStation 1 cutscene. Yes. But no, the second one, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is really poor. I mean, it's really, it felt like almost like a rushed production. It definitely wasn't finished when they released the film, you can tell. There's just so many shots, so many scenes, so many visual effects that just don't look to the standard. I mean, I'm not expecting the special effects to look like a Marvel film of 2023, because it's not going to, because it doesn't have that budget. But green screen mistakes, green screen issues when you've got a character jumping out of the sky and it literally looks like you can still basically see the green outline around him, and you've got like bits of his limbs missing because the green screen render didn't go through properly. Which is probably why, in terms of the overall film as well, I didn't find the film very interesting, very excited. It was basically Mortal Kombat 1, but just more cheesy and more crap. I'm probably going to give the second one a 4, 3 out of 10. It's still reasonably entertaining to watch. You know, the fight scenes are still cool. You've actually got Sub-Zero versus Scorpion in this film as well, which was weird. Yeah, Sub-Zero actually fights Scorpion in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But no, what's your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat movies, guys? I mean, in terms of the games, I remember, playing the ones on the Mega Drive. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was probably the last one I actually played properly, but I've seen some of the ones that they've released on modern consoles. They're so gruesome. It's so cool. They're so cool. But in terms of the movies, where do they stand? Where do they stand? Do you rate the films of the Mortal Kombat franchise? Do you think the 2 movies that they released are good? I don't know if there's a third one. There could well be a third one. I haven't actually checked that. But Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, what do you think of those films? I thought the original first movie was actually a good film. I thought it actually wasn't particularly bad. I expected it to be awful. It's one of those games turned to films. And I've never ever found a game that's been turned into a film has ever been particularly good. The one film I always used to think was going to be good when they turned it into a film, following it being a game, was the Resident Evil games, when they turned those into films. I actually thought those films, this is going to be cool. But then the first film came out in like 2004, something like that, or 2002. The ones with, what's her name in it, Mila Jovovich, and she was, I think she's actually the director's wife or daughter or something like that. of those films. But when that first Resident Evil film came out in 2002, I thought, this is going to be like the first game. You know, you're going to get to walk, you're going to see the characters walking around a mansion. It's going to have Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Albert Wesker, and they didn't have any of those. They had Alice, they had all these other characters, and you're thinking, it's not even based on a mansion. I'm thinking, what's the point? But the Mortal Kombat films, guys, what is your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat films? For me, like I said, the first one's good. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, although watchable and relatively entertaining, it's not great for me. It's not great for me. But guys, what's your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat films? Please have your say in the comments. Get the comments down, guys. And guys, like I said, thanks ever so much for the subscription so far. Whoever's subscribed so far, the 100-odd people that have subscribed to the channel at this current time, thank you very much. It's mostly appreciated. It really is. And you guys are fantastic. You're fantastic. Keep watching the videos, guys, because I'll be releasing different kinds of content. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of find my niche still. I'm trying to release different types of videos, and I'll continue to release different types of videos, because I know there's probably different audiences that that might like different stuff, and obviously I still haven't reached the point where I can just release the similar content, because I don't really know what people like yet. So I'm trying to release different types of stuff, just to make sure that different people are happy, because there could be different people approaching or falling on my channel and thinking, oh, this is interesting. I like this stuff, so I don't know. It's a difficult one, but I'm trying to release different style content, the voiceovers, these kind of blog style videos talking about films. So yeah, but guys, let me know what you think of the Mortal Kombat films. Thanks ever so much. I will see you soon for another video from Axel Williams. It's over and out. Cha-cha. I'll see you soon.